Every relationship is an important element within each of us. But do we really know the power that lies within our relationships? Do we know how to press play in our relationships? Well, today on Shauna-Kay's Motivational Breeze, we explore the incredible power that lies within our relationships. And also, how do we win within these relationships? I do this because we need it. You need it. That good energy that will change our minds about our limitations. Some strong positive conversations that will shift our lens from lack to abundance. We all need this kind of emotional diversity if we ought to be happy. Today, I have with me a very phenomenal and purpose driven steward of God, and she is no other than Mrs. Sanya Green Reynolds. Mrs. Reynolds, I welcome you to Shauna-Kay's Motivational Breeze. And today we are exploring the topic, the incredible power that lies within a relationship. It's a pleasure having you today, Mrs. Reynolds.
Hi, it's great to be here, and congratulations and well done on the amazing job that you've been doing, Shauna-Kay.
Thank
Super
you.
proud of you.
Thank you so much. And at this time, I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell my listeners more about you.
I thought you did a wonderful job introducing me there. So first of all, it's very important just to let the world know that I'm a Jesus girl. I'm a believer. I'm a woman of faith, and I am married to this amazing and gorgeous man called Leon Reynolds, and together we have 4 children. And I have been living outside my home country for the past 6 years now, I think, and it's been just an amazing opportunity just to be able to live outside of my born land and just to create relationships and friendships that, you know, they stand the test of time, and to also do that which God has called me to do in ministry. So pretty much that sums it up about me for now.
Amen. Wonderful, wonderful. Mrs. Reynolds, if you could define the word power, what is this power that is within our relationships?
Power. See, that word could be looked at in a negative as well as positive light. But power would, for me, relate to the kind of energy that you transmit. Is it a positive kind of energy? Is it a negative kind of energy? How does that lift up others? That's just my whole understanding of power, especially when you're talking about it in the context of relationship. Do you give the other person in the relationship, do you give them that power to feel that energy, that positive vibe? Or do you take away that power and do you replace it with negativity, a negative kind of energy? So in that context, that's how I would explain it.
Thank you so much. And as you spoke about negative and positive, power being negative or positive, do you believe that people struggle in the beginning of a relationship? Is there a power struggle in the beginning of relationships?
Oh, certainly. Definitely. I would say 3/4 of the time, if this power struggle pursues, and if it persists, you really should probably run, because it's an indicator that, you know, things might not change. I'm not saying that all the times it doesn't really change, yes. But a lot of times people try to project themselves or project their own inner feelings, and let's face it, not all of us have positive inner feelings. And in projecting those things onto others, that's where the power struggle comes out. Does she believe she's better than me? Does he think he's better than me? Or who does he think he is, that I should be doing everything and he's doing nothing? And, you know, those sorts of negative kind of thoughts. Whereas you have relationships where the struggle might not be as deep, but people might not be so sure as to how the other person feels. And this might bring across some sort of conflict.
And why do you believe that people have power struggle?
As I said before, it's a lot of inner feelings being projected. Um, a lot of people aren't whole. A lot of people are struggling. And when I say a lot of people aren't whole,
Yes.
I don't mean it in a negative way. The truth is, a lot of us have triggers and scars from the past that,
Mhm.
they still lingers with us. And, there are past relationships and past hurt and past anger and past pain that hasn't been resolved. So as a result of them being unresolved, moving on
Mhm.
seem to be harder than we know. And sometimes we project these things onto other people
Yes.
without ourselves knowing.
Mhm.
And that's just where a lot of forgiveness and forbearance comes into play, because sometimes people are doing things that they aren't even conscious about.
Yeah.
So, you know, there comes the power struggle, and there comes the inner feeling, and there comes the past, trying to rear its ugly head and damaging. you know um I think the other day I watched this program, um this Love is Blind program there. I stumbled on it and ended up binge watching. And there's this one particular girl there who, she treated her partner so terribly
Mhm.
because of the fact that in her mind, she felt like she sabotages all her relationships. She
Mhm.
kept saying it, and she kept saying it, and she kept saying it. And she didn't say it in a way where she was, trying her best to kind of shift from there. She just said it, and it's like she lived in that lane. It was like a whole town for her. And she just lived in this town of sabotage. She's going to sabotage her relationship, sabotage her own happiness. Anything good that comes her way, she's going to sabotage it. And, we look around us, and a lot of times these things are manifested around us
They are.
because it's just the mindset of a lot of people.
So therefore, we can say that our relationship actually determines whether we will actually exercise a negative power or a positive power in our relationships, because that's basically what you just summarized for us.
Yes, that and the fact that we have a lot to do with it from our own mindset and
Mhm.
our own perspective, our own way of thinking. Yes.
Wow. This leads me to my other question. Many of us, we don't know how to stay alone. We think that loneliness is a crime. If I stay alone, something will happen to me. If I stay alone, I will go crazy. But do we really need, when it comes to our mental health, do we really need many friends to have a good mental health? Because many people believe this is so.
This is a really tricky question. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely.
Mm.
Now, and I'd rather having one or no friend than a lot of friends um, who don't serve. And when I say serve, I don't necessarily mean give,
Yes.
but friends who don't, they don't serve a purpose in my progress. And in my progress, I mean spiritual progress, personal progress, and that's how I see it. Um, but let me go ahead and answer your question. The moment you're ready for a relationship, whether it be friendly relationship, platonic relationship, erotic relationship, any kind of relationship, is the moment when you learn to enjoy your own company. And I can say this from experience. And I'm going to share a little bit about my years of abstinence before I got married. Um, as a woman of God, I decided, I felt like, it was impossible for me to become a Christian and not, you know, be married. But it ended up that went through the window, and I ended up being married and single. And so, initially, I wasn't as walking the line as I really should have, and I was dating here, there, and all over the place. And then I got convicted. And so I ended up being abstinent because that was the instruction from God.
Yes.
Now, in that time, I learned how to enjoy my company. I learned how to sit down, read my books, watch my TV. I learned how to, trust me, I just learned how to sit, relax, love my company, love myself, and also give onto the people around me, but not be too clingy to anyone or not being sad and sulky because I'm all alone. At the end of the day, there's just a lot to do,
Yes.
so much to do when it comes on to, growth, personal growth and development. That's one thing that we should never underestimate, and that's one thing that we should always try to use our time to do: personally develop ourselves. And that doesn't mean just reading a good book. It means if you're a Christian or if you're of any other faith or whatnot,
Yes.
spend some time to learn more about why you believe what you believe. Spend some time knowing yourself, what makes you upset, what makes you glad. Also, being alone is a great time for you to actually look at what you're looking for in a relationship, be
Mm.
it erotic, be it
Yeah.
platonic, be it, that's just the time when you can literally sit down and say, okay, I don't want this, I want this. So you literally can leave that season with a roadmap, in my
Mhm.
perspective.
Wow, thank you so much. With so many connections taking place on social media these days, do you believe that we still need to spend time with our friends, with our loved ones to get the benefit of it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, why would you be somebody's friend if you're not going to check in with them? Like, come on, why are you? I mean, do you just consider them to be your friend so that when you need something, you can check in with them? So it shouldn't be as tricky as is, but it is. And I understand that we're in a busy world. There's always a million and 10 things to do, but it's very important that we spend a lot of time checking in with our loved ones. I'll use my daughter for this example. One thing I normally tell her: stop tapping on Instagram. You don't need to be tapping hearts for everyone and every celebrity that you don't even know. If you should pass on now, these folks don't know you. Check in with your loved ones and your relatives, the people who have been there in your lives, in your life, the people who have wiped your nose and they're praying for you. And these are people that you need to check in with. So it's very important to maintain that connection, not just superficial connections. Because
Mhm.
a lot of these new connections, they're
Yes, they
superficial.
are. They are.
They might just they like something that you wear, and you say, "Oh, she's
Mhm.
cool, I like you,"
That's it.
and
Do it.
you could try for 3-4 years, and nothing more comes of that.
That's
But
it.
then there are deeper friendships where you've been there for each other, thick or thin, for one reason or another, just someone who can pray with you, who can
Mhm.
lift you up, give you a word of encouragement here or there. You definitely don't want to mistreat those people or make them feel as if it's a one-sided, lopsided kind of relationship.
In this current crisis that we're experiencing, we have many, like I have seen many friendships falling apart, and a lot of persons have messaged me when they saw this topic, and they're really interested in knowing more, because the issue that many are facing, okay, I'm her friend, but she's not messaging me. I am always the one who is reaching out to her. So you will find that one will be laid back, and both parties, they are waiting who will message first, who will check on me. And if I don't check on you today, you might think, okay, you're no longer in my circle. Like, how do we deal with such situation?
Grow up. Grow
Yeah, you said it
up,
right.
okay? Just
Grow
grow
up.
up, for God's sake. Grow up, take initiative. I mean, one of the 21st century skills, for all of us as 21st century citizens, is to take initiative.
Yeah.
And I know it becomes lopsided, as I previously mentioned,
Mhm.
when one person is taking all the initiative. But, this in the same time that you're thinking about your friend, why not let them know that you're thinking about them? Yes, if you're going to make them know that you're thinking about them every single day over the next 3 months or over all the pandemic, then it's okay for you to assess that friendship at the end and see if this is something that is draining and depleting you versus something that, you want to pursue it. But I think that it's very important that as women and as men, we grow up and we stop pointing fingers. If you can be thinking about your friend now, we all have WhatsApp, we all have Messenger, we all have this.
Mm-hmm.
It don't have to cost you much to just take up your phone, send a picture. You can go down to your gift section there and just type in thinking of you and send that gift to them, and then they will see that, hey, I'm thinking of you, are you okay? That's okay. uh, for us not to for us to think that, oh, am I not in their circle anymore, it shows some sort of deficiency on your end. I mean, are you confident in this friendship? Are you, or are you trying to project any kind of feelings? I don't know. Those are things that you might want to be thinking about and doing some sort of inspection. And if it's something that's really bothering you, maybe you should try and have a direct conversation.
Mm-hmm.
If it's worth your friendship, why not have the direct conversation? Hey,
I
and
do
that might
that.
be hard, but if you're going to think about it, because in this pandemic, the last thing you want to be doing is thinking about trivial stuff like that. Well, it might not be trivial to you, so let me take that back.
Yes.
But be thinking about things like that when really you could use the same time and the same energy to reach out to the person. But if it is a case where you're constantly reaching out, and nothing is coming back, well, maybe you should remove yourself. I've done that in this pandemic, for example. I've been in a position where one of my duties is to check in on people. And not just because I was in that particular position, that's just who I am as a person. You know that. I check in on you every now and then, find out how you're doing. I haven't heard from you. Now, if we should always match up to see who's checking more on who, trust me, I'm not the person who is being checked on a lot, because when you're strong, people see that
Yeah.
you're strong sometimes. But there are other friends that I have who checks in on me more often than I check in on them. What does this show you about your quality of friends? Are we projecting anything on each other? No. Are we blaming each other? No. We're just adults. We
Yeah.
know
You have
that
grown
we
up.
get busy. Yeah, we know we get busy, and the fact that I'm busy doesn't mean that I'm not thinking about you. It doesn't mean that I haven't prayed for you. It doesn't mean that I don't have good thoughts about you and I'm not thinking about your endeavors. It's just that I have not quite gotten the time to check in with you, especially since my time zone is like so whacked up and so different from yours. And when I'm thinking about you, might be sleeping. So, if you wake up to weird text messages from me at weird hours in your time zone, that's just me thinking about you. It's not me disrespecting your sleep time.
So the solution is to grow up and take
Grow up,
initiative.
take initiative.
I do agree with you. What are
And
the
don't forget what I said about the fact that, if you're constantly checking in and if it's
Mhm.
depleting you, then
Yes,
maybe it should be something you should rest. Because guess what? If the person misses you, then
we will
they will
definitely.
reach out back to
Yes.
you. And before you know it, things have a way of healing. And one thing I can tell you too, in addition to everything I said, is when you have these things that bother you, for me as a believer, I do not hesitate to pray about it.
Yes. Prayer is
You
the
want to
key.
pray about these things and ask God, you know, to show me my friends. I mean, if this relationship is important, just let it flourish. I mean, I'm going to lay off, but let it flourish. It's okay.
And what are the effects of technology on our relationships, whether it be platonic? Just what are the effects? Technology, it's very important, but yet still it has an effect on our relationships.
It does. It does.
Mm.
See, it can have a negative as well as a positive
Yeah.
effect, depending on what you use the technology to do. You clear case is my daughter that I've mentioned
Yeah.
prior. Like she has the technology and she is tipping and tapping, but is she tipping and tapping in an effective manner? Is this going to be? Is this adding any time? Is this adding any value to her relationships with her loved one and her friends? Or is she just entertaining herself with the internet that she has super high speed internet, latest devices and gadgets? But how is she using it? Whereas let's look at a wonderful platform that we're using now. See,
Yeah.
I've used this platform to have virtual tea with my friends
Mm.
here and there. I've used it to have virtual birthday parties. I've
Mhm.
used it to have prior meetings all night prior. I've used it to have candlelight. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
the latest one.
And these are all amazing, like the stories that come back from these amazing opportunities.
Mhm.
So we can use this technology to connect. Yes, not everyone will like to do an online candle vigil. Not
Yeah.
everyone want to do a birthday party, but guess what? The minute you get them to that place where they do it, it's
Yeah.
a different feeling. It's a different experience compared to being in your living room, by yourself for the whole day. It's like a good little break or a good little way to mix up.
Wow.
So, but for those people who are living together as well, it's very important that we don't be the partner or the person who is just.
On the phone.
We need to understand that there's screen time and there's relationship time, there's family time, there's me time too. I should have some me time without the screen. I should have some honey time without the screen. Yeah, we can watch a movie, but we can also just lay down and hold hands and just talk without the screen. So we're not all perfect, but these are things that we should aspire to in our relationships. Give people more attention away from the screen. To be honest with you, I am on a detox mission right now, and I am figuring out. I know half of my life is on social media because of business
Yes.
and ministry stuff, but I am next week. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to devise a way that I can fast from my phone.
From your
I'm
phone.
very serious because this week I felt so distracted because of the amount of time that I've spent on my phone. Albeit, some of the things that I'm doing,
Yes.
albeit ministry and whatnot, but I just feel distracted. We have to learn to call it what it is. If you're distracted from your relationship because of technology, call it what it is, grow up, take responsibility,
Mhm.
fix it, and move on.
I think you have answered my next question because I was about to ask you, how do you maintain this incredible power in your relationships?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I could add a little bit more. Maintaining power in your relationship involves empowering the people in your relationship. Um, One of the amazing things that I love to hear from my friends is just the fact that, I inspire them to do this or
Mhm.
empower them to do that.
You surely do.
And that's just a blessing in and of itself. Now, I've left relationships gladly and thankfully and prayerfully because I felt disempowered in those relationships. I felt like, okay, you think you're better than me, or you think that you're the only one that's good enough to do this or that.
Mhm.
No, I don't play those kind of games. No, I don't want my relationships or anyone around me to feel that way. And if I learn that people around me start feeling that way, then
Mhm.
I know I really need to repent and I need to, fix that. So we need to, maintain the power within our relationships by empowering people, empower people to rise, empower people to take initiative. Let them see from our action. We need to be leaders in our relationships. let him see that, hey, this is how she operates. We teach people how to treat us. So if we treat people right, eventually they will treat us right. And if they can't get it right, then they will probably leave us alone because they realize that they can't rise to our standards.
Yes.
So maintaining that kind of standard and that kind of thought process is very important to maintaining that kind of power. Not like a power struggle, oh, I'm better than you are. No, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
I need you, you need me.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this, I can do this. We can
Yep.
all do it. Together we're a strong force. By yourself, you're a strong force. Together we're stronger. That kind of vibe is what we need.
You spoke about taking initiatives. And when we take initiative, it's based on a decision, making a decision. How do we deal with power when making decision? Because we all know that's something that can be very terrifying, something that can be very stressful. What is the best way you'd say we can deal with power when making decisions within our relationships?
Well, it's important to have conversations, and it's important to not always project our own ideas,
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, others have ideas. And it's amazing when we have conversations to see that, the missing part of what we're looking for lies in our partners or our friends' answer or their take on a particular situation.
Yes.
So, having conversation is very important, and also giving people a chance to have an input. And the input can be a conflict. It can be conflicting to what you think. But if you are mature enough to see conflict as a stepping stone for growth, then that shouldn't be a problem. You would understand that with conflicts we grow,
Yes.
with suggestions we grow, with other people's input, we can all be so much more, and we can create so many beautiful things. So it's important to not want to do things. I'm a strong person. I have to check myself on this one all the time, to make sure I ask questions. And while I'm saying I like this, I still give the opportunity to say, what do you like or what do you think? And reach that compromise. That compromise is super important.
It is. It is. And that leads me to my next question as well. Like, we're going really good. How does this power reflect interdependence in our different relationships?
Interdependence.
Mhm.
I said it just now, I need you, you need me. Um, we can grow off each other, we can bounce off each other's energy. It has to be done in such a way where it must be empowering, and we must understand that, hey, while I'm powerful by myself, you're powerful, there's this thing that I can do bad all by myself. Let's all do good. We can do good by ourselves, but when we get together and when we work together in relationships, we know that two are better than one. We
Mhm.
know that, to put 10,000 to flight. So
Amen.
even from the biblical aspect, we know that relationships and communities and coming together is way more powerful than just being, lonely Jane, or being all by myself, or doing bad by myself. Or I can do it. Be careful of those people who never change from that tone and that conversation. Oh, I can do it myself. Well, it's okay, I'll do it myself. It's very important for us as individuals to learn to trust others and to show our dependence on others, because that's a sign of humility, and it's also a sign to say that we are ready to compromise, and we are ready to work with others. We're ready to network with others, and we're not selfish. So if you, or when I was stuck in that place thinking that I'm superwoman, I'm so grateful and thankful that I understand now that, hey, I don't have to do it all by myself. I have friends, I have family, I have I have loved ones who would be happy, to grow along with me by sharing the power, being a part of something great or greater.
Wow, wonderful. At times, many of us, I know you said maturity is key. We all need to grow up. We all need to take initiative. But at times, we are mature and we are trying to maintain that level of maturity. But then a situation such as COVID-19 comes and attack us. This is something that we never planned for. And it comes, we are not prepared. Thus, we do not know how to actually deal with it. And when we are pressured, whatever is pressuring us, whatever challenges we have, and we don't know how to deal with it as a person, we would tend to put that frustration on others, which cause conflict in many relationships. How do we then deal with these conflicts within our relationship, within our friendships?
Again, grow up. Apologize.
This seems the
This has
key.
happened to me. Of course, my kids, I have two teenage kids.
Yes.
So all four of us are quarantining together.
Yeah.
And there are days when I yell or I say things that hurt their feelings. And I had to apologize because I'm telling you, apology is not even my strongest forte. I'm going to tell you that. Because normally when I speak, I do speak my mind.
You do.
But then I do go back and then I realize sometimes that, oh no, I said that wrong. So I really need to apologize for all the hurt and any kind of pain that I caused. Because one of the things I'm very careful of is causing people pain, especially as a child of God. I don't want to be that kind of person. I want to be the person who empowers you and motivates you and inspires you. So when I understand and when I get to that place where I see that I'm causing you to feel sad or down, oh my God, that's one of the worst kind of feelings that I can have. So when you are in that position where you vent your frustration on someone else, it's very important for you to apologize for the part that you've played in that whole scenario. Yeah, and we have to forgive. We as people, we have to forgive. The truth is, a lot of times people will never ever um, ask for forgiveness. They will never ever apologize to us. I've been hurt, and people have said and done things to me that is just inconceivable. To know that these people in these particular positions would do this or say this and say it or do it at the time when they do. And guess what? Because I know those kind of persons and I know who they are, what they stand for, it's just best for you to just forgive them and move on without them even asking for forgiveness. Because there's a lot of people out there who will never ever accept that they've done something wrong. What do? Do you just stay hurt for the rest of your life? No, because when you're hurt, you're taking a whole burden and a whole, yoke upon you that you don't need to carry. But if you forgive them, move on, whether if or not they ask for it, I mean, you don't have to carry that burden anymore. So especially in this time of COVID, I would say forgive even quicker than you would have before COVID, because trust me, we see what's happening around us. We know tomorrow is never promised. But even in this time, like, why do you want to be carrying around grudges? And we all have to be understanding as well. We all have to understand that, oh, well, probably this person is having a bad day. It's okay if they yell at you, made you feel bad. They themselves felt bad. I'm telling you, half the times people react certain way. They go back and they feel bad about it. It's okay for you to be mature and to reach out to them too and say, hey, what happened this morning happened. Let's move on. It's okay.
That's mature.
That childlike kind of, how kids are. They are playing now and they're fussing in this moment, and they go there and come back and tutus, they're good again. They're like this. They're good friends. no grudges, no 21 days before they become friends again. No, because they need each other. They need to play with someone, and that's their friend right there. They're not going to let another whole day pass and they don't play with their friends. No. So we need to have that childlike attitude towards our friendships, but we need to grow up
Yes, we
and to,
do. We
yeah,
do.
we need to be mature about the whole thing.
Earlier
You
you
might be sipping some coconut water.
go ahead, sure. Earlier you spoke about respecting one's point of view. Like, but how do we really validate someone? Like, is there a way in which we do that? Because what I've realized, many people, especially those of us, who have a higher educational background or educational status than our partners, our friends, we tend to think that whatever they say, it's of no sense. Like they don't know more than I do because I went to university, I have a master's, I have a PhD. So you just go and sit right there and listen to me. I'm the big boss here. Like, how do we deal with that? How do we ensure that we respect each other's point of view, depend not even on our status, but just giving respect as respect ought to be given?
See, it's very important for us to be better listeners than talkers. And when we tend to talk too much, or when we tend to think that we know it all, that our arrogance normally lands us into a lot of trouble and a lot of relationship issues. So it's super important for us to listen, um, especially to people who have experience. I mean, if you've lived on planet Earth, you would have some experience in one thing or another. Um, it's very important that we don't consider ourselves high and mighty or be proud of who we are, where we are because of our education. Because education comes in different forms and
Good.
formats.
Mhm.
I run a whole business that I didn't go to college for. And yes, I went to college and I have a career out of going to college, but I've found other ways to educate myself to be successful in what I do otherwise. And I'm just using that as an example to say that we can learn from every and anyone around us, be it we learn what not to do or what to do. So it's very important that we learn to listen to others, especially if they are even vulnerable and they feel like they are not heard because of their educational or their background status. Um, because at the end of the day, we all have a voice. People get different revelation because of different reasons, because of different experiences. It would only be wise of you in a relationship to learn as much as you can from a person. I learn a lot from my small kids.
Mhm. Okay.
I learn a lot from just little kids. I learn a lot from people who are younger than me. And of course, I learn a whole lot from people who are older than me. They talk in parables sometimes, but then when you go back and you think, you get a lot of solutions to problems based on just listening to diverse people in diverse places with diverse experiences. There's a problem if the only person or the only voice you're listening to is yourself. I'm pretty sure that sooner than later, you're going to be in some sort of deficit. If the only advice and the only voice you're listening to and hearing is yourself,
Hmm. Wow.
you know?
In all the interviews that I've done thus far, there was actually a fear factor with all of them. And today, as we look on the incredible power that lies within relationship, we're also going to speak about that fear factor and how we can actually step outside of fear. Because many people, they are limiting their capacities. Like there are several opportunities out there for us. But because of the fear that we have, we don't want to start new relationships. Like, I don't need a new friend. I don't want to get close to anyone because I remember a few weeks ago that happened to me. He hurt me, she hurt me, he did that, she did that, and then the whole list goes on. How do we step outside of fear to actually possess that which God has in store for us as children of God?
See, that's very important. That last thing that you say, to
Yeah.
possess that which God has in store for
Amen.
us. Bible tells us, fear not.
Mm.
It's easily said, I know, and it's easier said than done. But at the end of the day, fear is something that we have to confront. You have to face your fear. And one of the things, or one of the ways that you can confront your fear is to check, what is it that really do make you fearful? Are you fearful of being hurt because you were hurt before? Are you fearful of being betrayed? Are you fearful of just not feeling adequate enough? What are you fearful of? So when you actually get to that place where you identify the fear, I would say work on overcoming it, because with that fear, it is going to be easily projected onto other persons in a relationship. If you do get over even starting that relationship or giving into that relationship, um, we have to thread carefully when starting anything new. But threading carefully does not mean that you have a lot of fear. There's a difference between being wise and being fearful.
Yeah.
So you're going to go in a relationship, you're going to exercise wisdom. You're not going to meet some guy and he tells you he loves you and wants to get married to you, and you open up your whole bank account and you give it to him, or as a guy, you meet some girl and she's beautiful and sexy and you say, oh, you're going to be my wife, and you give her the key to everything you've been working for all your life. That does not align with wisdom itself. In the same way, you're not going to meet a platonic friend, and in the first hour of your friendship, you go and you tell them all your vulnerabilities and your weakness and your long, terrible secrets, and then think that they're not going to judge you based on that. That's just human nature. So it's very important that we all thread in wisdom when we're starting new relationships,
Mhm.
when we're progressing relationships. But not be fearful to start them. Because guess what? You can start a friendship. It doesn't have to last, but you can't say you didn't start it. I'm
That's
open to doing new things. I'm open to starting new stuff. I'll start a business tomorrow. If it doesn't work, fine. I started it. God, yes, I started it. It didn't work, fine. Tell me what next.
Mhm.
So we have to take that leap and we have to take that step. Now, maintaining it is very important. How do we maintain it? Are we going to be imbalanced in any way? Are we going to be hurtful in any way? Are we going to project our fear on the person? Or are we going to be as mature and as normal as we really should be in that context? Now, that's the next thing that we should work on.
Wow, thank you so much. We are encouraged by Mrs. Reynolds not to stunt our growth, not to be fearful, but step outside of fear. And this leads me to our final question for our discussion. What would you say to my listeners is the key to being consistent in their relationship with all amidst everything that is happening around us, everything that we're facing right now? What is the key to be consistent and to keep our relationships and to actually build our relationship with more love and more care and more validation? How do we do so?
Well, I would say there are some practical things that we can do. Like we really need to set some like mode of apparatus, as I would say. You know, if you have, if it's a group of you that are friends, go ahead and schedule date times or virtual meetup. Invite your friend to events that you're taking part in, or events that you're attending, so that you guys can feel like, okay, you're in it together. If you're having a watch party, if you're on the same social media platforms, invite your friend and talk about it afterwards. I'm telling you, as I said before, since this pandemic, I've had virtual movie night.
A parties.
uh, yeah, watch parties, stuff like that. Invite your friends. Just take initiative and be creative. You can sip and paint. You can have virtual tea and spill the tea. You can have online Bible studies together if you're a Christian. You can have book clubs together if you guys read. You can watch your favorite if you're into business. There are different podcasts and stuff that you can watch. And then you can discuss these things afterwards. There are like a million and one, actually professional development and things that can grow you both that you can do. All you need to do is schedule it. And it should be okay for you to introduce your friend to other friends of yours. So you don't have to go and do the same thing 100 times. But you can have like little group sessions or group parties, or as best as you think that would be for you. You know me, whether online or offline, I'm always engaging my people
Always,
in something
always.
here or there. When it comes on to networking, I I don't want to really give myself too much credit, but I do an okay job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when it comes on to touching base with my family, some people I don't touch base with every day, some I do touch base with every day. You really have to know, the level of friendship. And some people I don't touch base with them every day. They know that it's not because I don't love them or I don't value them. We have that kind of friendship, and those are my favorite kind of friendships, I must say. The ones where we don't talk for a few weeks, but when we catch up, it's like we never missed a beat.
And there's no
And
blame game in those. Like, you didn't message me for the
no blame game,
no
no
blame game.
nothing.
Level
It's
of
all love.
maturity.
And you know what? You need to check yourself if you're the one who are always starting the blame game. And I have a serious problem with people who start blaming and asking why you couldn't do it. Don't ask me that. Why couldn't you do it? Like, I'll get super upset right now if you're gonna ask me, how come you didn't text me? Why you didn't text me? Like, seriously?
When you thought of it, get your phone. Send a
Yeah, if you
message.
think about me, let me know that you're thinking about me. And so, see, I live by those rules. When I'm thinking about you, I'm gonna text you. I see things that you like, and one of the things that we should also think about, it's a time, it's a virtual life that we're living. You
Mm-hmm.
can send virtual cards, you can send gift cards, you can send gifts and stuff online,
You can make a
like
postcard.
the whole
Mm.
I yeah, you can send someone a gift card. You can order. As a matter of fact, you can order something and send it to someone for their birthday, baby shower or whatever it's going on. Let them know that you're not alone. In my experience, when people receive a gift from you, they feel super special.
They
I'm
do.
not going to tell you now to use all your life saving buying gifts. But sometimes it's very important that we invest in our relationships. We might be the only Jesus that these people know. Show the love, invest in the relationship, be kind, say a kind word, send a kind postcard or one of those wallpaper or something. It's free half the times. So COVID-19, don't stop sending all that negative news. Send
Yes.
inspiring, empowering stuff. Do a course together. Go on to Coursera and both of you do a course together if you have the same interest. You guys can inspire each other and motivate each other, study together. Do something together that after this whole quarantine is over, you both can come out feeling empowered and ready for the world.
Wow. Thank you
I
so
talk a
much.
lot, I know.
A lot, and that's useful information. And also the power that lies within the relationship of Miss Sonia Reynolds and I is that power of mentorship and inspiration. She has been mentoring me for the past 2 years. I've actually met her before I've actually seen her in person, and that's another experience to talk about. You have been really tremendous in my life.
More than 2 years. It's two
Yes,
times two.
yeah, 4 years. Actually, 4 years. Like 2 years in person, 2 years like over the phone. And it has been a really wonderful experience. Like, you have encouraged me to step outside of my comfort zone, like not to be fearful of the ifs and the buts, but to just step out of my comfort zone and just be myself. And I know that this will be posted all over my social media platforms, and the world will be watching. And I'm taking this opportunity to tell you thank you. I'm taking this opportunity to appreciate you, to appreciate the power that is within this relationship that we have. And I want you to know that I cherish you and I honor you and I thank you for the path you have played in my life so that I could be interviewing you today on my platform. Thank you so much, Mrs. Reynolds.
Thank you. See, we need to do more of this in our relationships. We need to give credit and, pay respect
Yeah,
and
it's very
give
important.
back and compliment before it's too late. So thank you for saying that. It's been an honor knowing you. I mean, you're beautiful. And the moment I saw you, I realized that there's so much more to you that you didn't understand at the time.
You told me.
And it's very important for us, whether God has given us that gift or, we want to ask Him for that gift to help to push people into their destinies, help them to understand that there's greater in them and not just be, they're not just called to be ordinary or to
Yes.
be lax or relaxed or have people walk all over them. So it's just amazing to see your growth, Shauna-Kay.
Thank you. Well, you have heard it here first and only on Shauna-Kay's Motivational Breeze. The incredible power that lies within our relationships with Mrs. Sonia Green Reynolds. And one important thing, she said a lot of things, but one that I took from it, and I know that you have taken several, is the act of growing up. Growing up, and do not stunt your growth. Be mature. Be mature in everything that you do. Not only think for yourself, but also think of others, validate others, show care, show a level of understanding. And the other important thing is to listen, be a listener more than a talker. That is so very, very important. I need to do that as well. We all need to do it. It's something that we all need to work on, to listen more. And we will see that our opportunity is in life will be endless. Miss Sonia Green Reynolds, I want to thank you for taking the time out to be a part of Shauna-Kay's Motivational Breeze. My first Jamaican female to be on Shauna-Kay's Motivational Breeze.
Good
It's a
stuff.
pleasure having you, and you are doing wonderful work. You haven't told us about your company, your publishing company. I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell us more about that. So for those persons who want to write, they can go ahead and contact you to change their lives.
Yes, please. You can follow us at Lit Publishing Limited on Facebook or Instagram. That's LIT, lit, like light. Yes, because we believe that, you can illuminate the world with words, whether spoken words or written words. And there, what we do is author education and training. We teach you how to write your story, make it relevant, turn it into a bestseller, not just on Amazon, but to create products and ideas from your book to create or maintain a steady income. So we do that. And I have just launched Expat Christian Network, and that's a group we're working on of expat Christians, whether you are living here in my country or elsewhere. And by my country, I mean the UAE. Whether you're living in the United Arab Emirates, you're living in the States, you're living in Asia, wherever you're living, we're inviting you, if you're an expat who is a Christian, who is a believer, we're inviting you to join the movement. We are working together for His kingdom. It's not a denominational thing. We are just coming together as people living outside of our born lands, just to do the good work that God has called us to do, through charity, and we're also networking. We're having devotionals daily. We have a lot of monthly activities coming up planned. It's going to be pretty exciting. I'm always excited about the things that God has called me to. And I trust that you will find that excitement and joy and join us too. That's Expat Christian Network. You can find us on Facebook, join our Facebook group, or like us on Facebook.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much too for listening to another episode on Shauna-Kay's Motivational Breeze. I pray that you will all remain safe during this time. Love on someone, show someone you care, share whatever you have with others, and God will bless you. And do not forget to share this broadcast. Do not forget to like. Do not forget to subscribe. God bless you. See you soon.
All righty. It was great. Bye. Take care.